What's up, y'all? I'm Reed the Fishmonger. Today, we're filleting up one of the world's ugliest fish. This is a monkfish. Look at the way this fish expands. It looks humongous, and then you drop it down, and it just turns totally flat. Monkfish are actually in the anglerfish family. This right here is its fishing bait. He dangles this out, somebody comes to check it out, and bloop, he swallows them up. Look at the inside of this fish. This thing is absolutely crazy, but enough talking about it, let's get them cut up. You can feel with your hand, if you ever have the privilege of working with one, feel underneath his shoulder here. You'll feel where the meat starts. You don't want to cut straight down. You'll miss out on so much of that fish. You want to puncture under there and pop out just like that and trace that bone behind its head. Look how crazy that is. We're gonna lift up right here, puncture right there, and cut straight out just like that. And yes, if you didn't know, this fish is called poor man's lobster. Why? Because it has that meaty texture like a lobster does with a subtle lobster-like flavor. This fish is absolutely delicious. It has gotten more expensive in recent years, so it might have to lose its poor man status soon. Check this out real quick. Look at these feet. These guys actually rest on the bottom of the ocean floor and use these cute little feet to prop themselves up and move around. Oh, let's move that back. And we're going to go like that, puncture through that membrane. Now we're gonna pick up his head, use those eye sockets as a nice handle. One good smack, and this pulls right out just like that. If you watch other monkfish cleaning videos, what you'll often see is they'll cut out right here, losing this large chunk of meat that goes right underneath these pelvic fins. And we are not throwing this head away. These monkfish actually have delicious cheeks. And cutting the cheeks out of these monkfish is probably more interesting and unique than any other fish that I cut the cheeks out of. I can't wait to show you. But first, we're gonna get these fillets off of this monkfish tail. Yes, they call this the tail, even though its tail is really just right here. This whole thing, when you buy it in the market, is called a monk tail. And how we skin the monkfish tail is actually kind of fun. We're gonna get a grip on the membrane, and we're gonna give it a little flick just like that. Little slice in there, get a good grip on that skin, and we're just going to pull it on back and undress her. Oh, look at that. All right, now that we've got our skin removed on the outside, we have some membrane right here that we wanna cut off. Look at that, this is a totally gnarly looking fish. Look how delicious that meat looks. It actually looks similar to a lobster tail once we get it cleaned up, you'll see. So this excess skin right here is what we want to remove from the fish. You can see where the meat begins, and this is just a thick, stringy membrane. Fish have things called swim bladders, and those swim bladders maintain buoyancy. And kind of like if you've ever been scuba diving, like a vest where you take air out of it to sink down and add a little bit of air in it to float just above the ocean level. That's what swim bladders and fish do. And this fish is found in over 2,000 feet of water. So you can imagine he needs a pretty robust swim bladder. We're gonna just start peeling away at this membrane. All right, now we're going to skin it. We're gonna take off this membrane just like we would skin. But you can already see just how delicious that meat looks underneath that membrane. Now, let's get to taking him off its spine. So you can see his spine goes right here. We're going to take our knife, run right next to it, and slide down. Get as close to that spine as you can. You want your knife to feel the bone. That way you don't lose out on any of this delicious monkfish. All right. one side off. Now we're gonna repeat the process. Again, you can feel the spine running down, and we're just gonna take our knife and run as close to that spine as we can. Again, you want your knife to feel the bone. If your knife is resting along the bone, you know you're not losing out on any of that delicious poor man's lobster. And this spine, we're absolutely not throwing away. Monkfish spine makes phenomenal stock. All right, we already cut out most of the membrane. All we have left is we're gonna take off this purple membrane right here. We've got it on this side as well. And just like before, we're going to get our knife under there and we're gonna treat it like we're skinning the fish. If you fillet a large grouper and you take the membrane from the large grouper and you want to remove the membrane, you can do the same thing. It's almost like you're skinning it. And look at that. You have none of the white meat on there, just all of that purple membrane. Flip it over. Look how good that looks. Got some of this blood in here. We're just going to shave it off. And there we go. Monkfish, some people say, is absolutely phenomenal raw. Let's find out. It is absolutely crazy how much this fish tastes like lobster. And there's your beautiful monkfish tail. All right, as promised, we're gonna cut the cheeks out of this crazy looking fish. You can feel them with your finger, but remember how I was saying how interesting it is? This is crazy, watch this. We're going to puncture underneath the skin. And the skin is like just resting on top of that fish. It is absolutely crazy. You can just work your way around it and expose the entire cheek. It is this entire thing right here. You have a bone that is right there. When you expose the entire cheek like this, you make removing it easy because you don't have to guess where anything is. Find that bone and just trace it. If this is your first time doing it, you want to make sure you don't lose out on any of that delicious meat. But bone right here, so you can just rest your knife on that bone and let that bone guide your knife. So the entire cheek is off the face now. It is just held on by a little bit of membrane in the corner here. Look at this. Look at all this jello. That is absolutely crazy. And there's your massive monkfish cheek. Look at that. You've got some membrane, silver skin on top of this cheek. Flip it over, grab a corner of it, and like we're skinning, we just ride our knife right underneath and you'll just pull that entire membrane right off. And that is just a flawless specimen of a cheek. Like and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching. Have a killer day.